In a quiet neighborhood, a routine patrol takes a dark turn when a police officer stops a young black man walking home. What starts as a tense encounter quickly spirals out of control, leaving bystanders shocked and confused. The officer's aggressive actions are caught on camera, sparking outrage and accusations of racism. But as the video spreads like wildfire, new details emerge that no one could have predicted. Who is the young man, and why does his story hold the key to unraveling the truth? What seems like a clear-cut case of injustice hides a twist that will leave everyone questioning what they thought they knew. Stay tuned as we dive into the moments leading up to this confrontation, uncover the hidden layers of this shocking event, and reveal how one act of courage changed everything. This story will challenge perceptions and leave you speechless. The young man Marcus is a well-known figure in his community, a mentor to kids, a volunteer at the local shelter, and a standout athlete with a promising future. On the night of the incident, he was returning from a late-night basketball practice, carrying nothing but his gym bag and dreams of making it big. Meanwhile, Officer Daniels, a seasoned cop with a stern reputation, had been patrolling the area after reports of recent break-ins. Their paths crossed in the worst way possible. The footage shows Marcus staying calm, repeatedly asking why he was being stopped, but Daniels seemed intent on escalating the situation. The tension in the video is undeniable, and viewers can't help but feel Marcus's fear as the officer grabs his arm. But beneath the surface, both men are hiding truths that could change everything. What led to this explosive encounter? The full story is still untold. As the confrontation intensifies, a growing crowd starts to gather, drawn by the commotion. Some pull out their phones, recording every moment, while others shout in Marcus's defense. He continues to plead his case, his voice steady but firm, insisting he's done nothing wrong. Officer Daniels, however, appears unyielding, his demeanor growing more aggressive with each passing second. To those watching, it seems like a textbook case of an abuse of power. But what the cameras don't show is the weight both men carry. Daniels is on edge, haunted by a recent case that left his judgment clouded and his patience thin. Marcus, on the other hand, is hiding a secret of his own, something that could explain why he was out so late and why his path that night wasn't as routine as it seemed. As tempers flare and the crowd grows louder, the situation teeters on the edge of chaos, leaving everyone wondering what will happen next. The situation reaches a boiling point as Marcus stands his ground, refusing to let fear dictate his actions. He knows the truth is on his side, but the weight of the moment presses heavily on him. Officer Daniels, tense and unwavering, demands compliance, his voice cutting through the growing noise of the crowd. The air is thick with unease, the energy raw and unpredictable. From the corner of the crowd, a bystander shouts, "He's innocent. Let him go." Others follow suit, their voices growing louder, their frustration fueling the tension. Marcus glances at the crowd, their support giving him strength, but also heightening the stakes. In the chaos, one voice rises above the rest, a woman stepping forward with her phone, declaring she has evidence that could prove everything. Daniels hesitates, his hand hovering near his radio. For the first time, doubt flickers across his face. Marcus, his breath steady despite the storm around him, looks him in the eye. "You're making a mistake," he says, his voice calm but resolute. The crowd falls silent, sensing the critical moment approaching, as both men stand frozen in the electrifying tension of what might happen next. Just as the tension seems unbearable, the woman holding her phone steps closer, her face determined but nervous. "Officer," she says, her voice trembling slightly, "I've been recording this whole thing, but there's something you need to see first." She quickly scrolls through her gallery and hands the phone to Daniels. The crowd murmurs, unsure what's happening. Marcus shifts uneasily, his confidence wavering for the first time. Daniels stares at the screen, his expression unreadable. After a long pause, his grip on his radio tightens. But instead of calling for backup, he looks back at Marcus, something like recognition flickering in his eyes. "Where were you an hour ago?" he asks, his tone sharp but different now, less accusatory, more calculated. The crowd's confusion grows. Marcus hesitates, glancing toward the woman with the phone. "I told you," he says carefully. "I was at practice." But Daniels shakes his head, his voice suddenly cutting through the noise. "No, you weren't. And I think you know why this matters." The revelation leaves everyone stunned, the layers of the encounter unraveling into something far more complicated than anyone had anticipated. The woman steps forward again, her voice breaking the tense silence. "Marcus saved someone tonight," she says, her words cutting through the chaos. She taps on her phone, pulling up another video. The screen shows Marcus moments earlier, rushing into a burning building and carrying out a child trapped inside. The footage is shaky but clear, Marcus risking his life as others watch from a distance. The crowd gasps, their anger turning into awe. Daniels freezes, his hardened expression cracking as he watches the heroic act unfold. But then he looks at Marcus with a mix of disbelief and suspicion. "If that's true, why didn't you say anything?" he demands. Marcus exhales deeply, finally letting his emotions surface. "Because I thought you wouldn't believe me," he says, his voice heavy with frustration. "I've seen how this ends for people like me." Daniels takes a step back, grappling with the truth. Just as the moment feels resolved, the woman speaks again, her voice sharp. "There's more," she says. She flips to another clip, one that shows the officer's car speeding past the scene of the fire, ignoring calls for help. The crowd erupts, their faith in Daniels shattered. Marcus meets Daniels' stunned gaze. "I didn't ask for this," Marcus says, his voice steady. "I just did what I thought was right." The weight of his words lingers, leaving Daniels speechless as the truth hangs in the air. As the crowd processes what they've seen, the atmosphere shifts. People begin to voice their support for Marcus, praising his bravery and questioning the officer's actions. Daniels, now visibly shaken, lowers his gaze, realizing the weight of his mistakes. He turns to Marcus, his voice quieter, almost apologetic. "I was wrong," he says. "You didn't deserve any of this." Marcus nods, his expression calm but resolute. "It's not just about me," he replies. "This happens to too many people. It needs to stop." His words resonate deeply, sparking conversations among the bystanders about justice, accountability, and the need for change. The woman with the phone uploads her videos, ensuring the full story reaches the world. As the crowd begins to disperse, Marcus walks away, his head held high. Though shaken, he knows his actions made a difference. The truth came to light, and with it, a chance for something better.